Once again, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the BB-Scho. As always, I'm your host, Beebs. I'm here with my co-host, Chen. Uh, let's just jump right in. We're going to avoid the how you doing question because I think I know the answer. So we're going to jump right into Thursday Night Football. We finally got some touchdowns. Um, what were your thoughts on Saints playing in Arizona?
Oh, well, I would say first half, my thoughts were, yeah, no way Andy Dalton keeps this job. And, watching the rest of the game, I mean, yeah, there's really no good way to say he threw three picks, but when you put 400 touchdowns and four touchdowns behind that, along with the fact it's Andy Dalton, I mean, I can't remember the last time he's thrown for that much yardage in his career. Um, that's something that was worth noting, definitely. I think the Saints, as bad as 2-5 looks, has shown more flashes of at least offensively than a lot of teams. I feel like defensively they haven't been this bad. I mean, I understand the Cardinals got DeAndre Hopkins back, and a lot of those, I think there was two touchdowns that were not even on their defense, just due to Andy Dalton. I mean, very well could have gone a different way if the Saints just protected the football, quite honestly. And luckily for the Cardinals and Cliff Kingsbury, they get this little stat pad of the record, but that still wasn't very convincing in my book. I mean, they still have the
Yeah, I
same
mean,
issues
you
offensively.
score 14 points on defense and win the game by eight. It's
Yeah,
you
it's
know
not
the
that
40 the
reassuring.
42 does not look as good, especially when you gave up 34. But I'll say
Exactly.
this: to me, it did seem this is the best the Arizona offense has looked all year. D Hop coming back definitely unlocked some fluidity, explosiveness. They were force feeding him. It was very clear they wanted to get him the ball. He's got fresh legs. To me, it was the best their offense had looked all year. If there's a silver lining for Arizona in what was otherwise an ugly win,
Definitely,
in my
definitely.
opinion. But hey, if you're the Arizona defense, two touchdowns, you can't do much better, honestly. So you did your job. You won your team the game. But yeah, I have to agree. There really isn't that much to take away here. Dalton seems like the guy for New Orleans moving forward. He still has less interceptions on the year than Jameis does, which is saying something considering he's played
Mm.
like three more games at this point. So
And he just did throw three. Like that's
yeah, yeah.
that's a big deal. That it was very uncharacteristic so far from what we've seen from Andy Dalton, and that's why I'm not really concerned, I guess, if it continues. But just, I mean, I guess we don't have a whole lot to take away from the game, but I guess it does depend where the Saints fall this year in the draft. I mean, are we kind of both expecting they go chase somebody, or does Andy Dalton play his way into a last kind of contract here? I
I
think it would
think
take really something for that to happen.
I think the
But
Saints. I mean, I don't know who's their head coach now.
Dennis Allen, he's a defensive guy. Didn't do well with the Raiders as a head
I
coach.
don't see the Saints chasing a quarterback. That just doesn't seem like their mo as an organization. Now I know Sean
Really
Payton's
not.
gone, but I wouldn't chase a quarterback in this class if I were them. Like I've said many times before, I'm not a huge fan of anybody.
Mm.
If it's going to be anybody, I would lean towards Bryce Young. But even then, I just don't see like a Trevor Lawrence type prospect in this class, or
They're
even
saying now that that kid out of Kentucky, Will Levis, they're saying he's most pro ready. Is that something
yeah.
you can get behind? Or
I'd have to watch more
I
film
still
on
like
him.
Stroud, but then again, it's the
It's
Ohio
Ohio
State QB
State,
thing.
yeah.
I don't think it means anything. I actually liked Fields coming out of college, and look where we are now. I still think he shows flashes, but a lot of that is predominantly on what we've seen in Ohio State.
Well, yeah,
So
and I mean, rest in peace. But Dwayne Haskins had all the numbers in the world coming out of college, and we'll all agree he struggled in the NFL as a starter. So it's just
agreed.
it's a weird
Can you
thing.
name a good Ohio State
No, you
quarterback for
can.
me?
That's what I was getting at. Is
Other than
like
like
there's this.
Terrell Pryor in like week 10 of 2011.
He was a wide receiver.
Hey, he had a 92-yard touchdown run. This is a fantasy football legendary tale when this guy puts up he had 15 points in like the first couple minutes against Steelers, and like he finished like 16 for the game. And I was like, all right. I got Rodgers on bye or something. I'm like, that is the end of the Terrell Pryor experiment. But again, you get the idea of just, yeah,
I
Ohio
forgot
State
about that.
quarterbacks. Yeah, no, he had a nice run there as QB and that Cleveland Browns here as receiver. But the general consensus is you look at Ohio State every year. I mean, Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave.
Oh,
This
they're
year you got
becoming a great wide receiver
right. Like I'm saying, I think
production.
the Ohio State, like they just get receivers that are so light years ahead of everybody. That's why even sometimes Alabama quarterbacks are hesitant because before Mac
Yeah.
Jones and Tua, we still have seen, flashes. They're not established, but before that, I'm not. There's no good Alabama quarterback comes to my mind.
Yeah. I mean, the best Ohio State quarterback that comes to my mind is Joe Burrow.
But even yeah, right, and it's
And he
like
didn't
he
even play.
transferred. Right.
He wasn't going to play there. So
Yeah.
it's a good point when you have that stacked of receivers, which they've had over the last half decade or so, 5 to 7 years.
Every throw's
The
easy.
throws are just easier because they're more open. I mean, it's common sense. So
Yeah.
um, I'm
You got
not that big.
Marvin Harrison Jr.'s kid playing against Northwestern. You got to be
Yeah,
kidding me.
and
Like,
exactly. So, and
it's
I'm not
just,
going to say
oh,
like I don't know. That goes across the board for the quarterbacks in this class. So to get back to the original question, I don't know what the Saints do. I wouldn't be mad if they rode with Dalton for a year. I think they could win eight to 10 games with a more complete and staying healthy quarterback situation with their roster. I think they're underperforming at 2-5 in my opinion. So
absolutely.
um, I wouldn't be surprised if they rode with Dolphin. I mean, don't forget they signed Drew Brees in free agency too. So this, it's not out of their MO to go do something like that.
Right.
So, and I don't know who's up for contract, but you
I
get
don't
my
either. I'd
you
have to
get
really look at that. Yeah.
you get my point. So I don't know. I wouldn't be mad if they didn't though. I don't think it's a need. I don't think it's a desperate like.
It's not urgent.
Yeah, I just don't
It's
see
not
it.
like,
Just I
yeah.
just don't see it in the Saints' tendencies to do something like that. To do something like a Browns team would do, or the Bears
Right.
just keep drafting quarterbacks
If
over and over again.
Dalton was playing bad and like really bad, then it would make sense.
No, he had one bad
But
half.
right, like yeah, in terms like you still see the talents there. Quarterback, you can play a little bit longer.
No,
So
and the
yeah,
offense
I would
is
agree.
and the offense is moving, and we'll get into this take when it comes to another team that has a lack there of offense. But it's not like
Ah, jeez.
he's struggling to move the ball. There's not they look good offensively. Kamara's opening up, Taysom Hill's opening up. They're creatively finding ways to score 34 points. I mean,
Right.
how many times you score 34 and lose? Like, not very many.
Only when you make more mistakes. But
But
ultimately,
yeah,
gotta give the tap to the Cardinals. They won the game, but still not sold really on either of these teams. Like we mentioned, Saints are underperforming. And hey, Cardinals, Call of Duty's back in full swing. So that's all I gotta say is good luck. That's really all I have on that. Um, a lot of interesting action in the noon window. What struck out to you first?
I kind of want to go to Baltimore first, honestly.
Very fair, yeah.
We'll avoid the Packer talk for a little bit here, but um, I got to be honest, that this was way closer than I thought it should have been, and I'm starting to get a little concerned about what's going on in Baltimore. I know
Hmm.
Cleveland's tough. We always say they're going to be competitive and all these things, and I do agree with that. But like, come on, guys. And I know it's a division game, but like, come on. If you're going to be an up, you got to run with the Bills and the Chiefs, and you're beating the Browns by 3. I'm just and Mark
Eh,
Andrews. Did Mark Andrews put up a goose egg today in fantasy too? I'm pretty sure he did.
practically. That's why you can kind of shoulder some of the blame there. And I understand it's concerning. Personally, I'm just not gonna overreact. Just
No, I'm not
because
overreacting.
yeah,
I'm growing concerned.
that's fair. I just think some of the teams that lost today have more problems. Like it, yeah. Would you like him to win by more? Agreed. But uh, they won. You
Yeah,
know what I
a
mean? They
win's a
won
win.
in a
Have you?
division like that.
I
I
got a
mean,
question. Have you written off the Browns yet?
at where they're sitting at, are they 2-5 right now?
Yeah, with wins against the Panthers and the Texans.
I just don't see this team really staying afloat until and even this is my thing. People are like, oh, well, just hang in there till Deshaun Watson gets back. That doesn't guarantee he wins every game from there on out. He could be
Yeah,
stellar and then they still lose one, and it's like, well, if you needed to run the table to get in, you just get
honestly,
in.
if I'm Cleveland at this point, and maybe I feel like I'm the first person to say this. I haven't had this take yet, but at this point, go get a good draft pick and go grab what's that kid? Bijan. Is it Bijan
Oh,
Robinson?
Robinson.
Yeah, from Ohio State. Go grab a wide receiver, a true wide receiver one.
Oh, Robinson. He's the running back. He's a running
No,
back, I think, out of Texas. If you're talking Marvin Harrison Jr. out of Ohio State, I
there's
think that's a
a
great
there's
one.
yeah there's a no. It's not Marvin Harrison Jr., but there's another. I'd have to look up. I'm gonna look up his name, but
Yeah. Fact check it real quick. But yeah, you're thinking of yeah, there's a running back out of Texas that is just nuts. I mean, I've seen some highlights. I mean, if you have Bijan Robinson, you haven't heard the name, go check that out. He can run. He already looks like an NFL running back, and in college you can say that about a lot of guys, but just the balance and footwork he's shown, he might get himself a first round pick, but ultimately I think we're really even seeing this year. If you
it
have
is
like a really
Marvin
good running
Harrison.
back,
I don't know who I'm thinking
it
of,
is.
but
Yeah, no,
um,
honestly, that's the Ohio connection on top of having Deshaun
well,
Watson.
yeah, just go grab a wide receiver one, whoever you prefer. Go grab a wide receiver
Right.
one. They do have defensive problems too, so I wouldn't be that upset if they did something like that. But um, yeah, I would grab a wide receiver one. I don't think Amari Cooper's going to cut it for Deshaun next year. I think it'll be solid, but they could be a little bit better.
That's an amazing wide receiver too, in my book.
Yeah, they would. It
You
would be.
know,
The, I guess. I guess another thing. It wouldn't be the end of the world
him
if.
and Marvin Harrison Jr. would be enough. It's kind of like with the Chargers, like they've been rolling with just Mike Williams, and like I love Mike Williams, but I still think right now in his career he's still a very good wide receiver too. He's a
Yeah.
low end wide
Well,
receiver
yeah,
one.
he's better than
That's kind of the
Donovan
Amari
Peoples
Cooper.
Jones.
Yeah, that's for sure. So and having
So
him in the slot is fine, but yeah, I would say for the Browns' sake, I hope they look in that direction, because even if you're fighting to scrape out games, whatever, like it's just you're playing so behind the eight ball at this point, and
yeah.
just the games they got left. I mean, but hey, you know what? There's a couple other teams that should probably do the same thing, but for various reasons, I might go to bat for them. I digress.
All right. That's about all I got from this game. Oh, I did hear I guess it was last week, Miles Garrett, all-time franchise sack leader at like 65 or 66 career sacks. And I heard that stat and I was like, that is
Isn't
not
he
that
like,
many sacks. He's so
yeah,
young. I was like, how bad is your franchise history if
holy
that's your
cow.
sack record
They
is
haven't had any guy that can get in the backfield. Like when
I
you
don't know.
think about it, it's like great
He
Browns
was
pass
drafted like
rusher.
3 or 4 years ago.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah,
trust me, I'm aware that this
he's
guy's
gonna
in his 20s.
shatter that record. Like
Yeah, it's not gonna be close. But I mean, next best. Do you have any name? I'm trying to run through my. I can't
Browns
think of
pass
anybody.
rusher.
Browns outside like
The only like
Jabal Shears.
the only Brown great that I can think of was Joe Thomas, and he was on
and
the
Jim
other side.
Brown.
Yeah, and Jim Brown. That's it.
I and I think of like safeties, like maybe like T.J. Ward, um, Dante Hittner for
Josh Gordon was pretty gas.
Josh Gordon was literally.
Oh, what was
And then
Josh
I guess
Cribbs? Josh Cribbs, good kicker for
Josh
them.
Cribbs before he got his head taken off like 5 times.
All right.
And
We're off pace.
yeah, we're getting
We're
back in this
way off
NFL,
pace.
yeah, nostalgia trip. Um, what about the whole whatever happened? I mean, I can tell you what happened from just a short, aspect of it with the Panthers Buccaneers. I mean, that's alarming, but I've been harping on this all year. If Brady keeps throwing the ball close to or at 50 times a game, I'm not sure how they think they're going to win. It'll sometimes
They
sneak them
have
in for like
so many
3 points today.
problems
The line's
It's
bad. They can't get anything downfield because the line is so bad.
it all
Brady can't
stems
extend
from
a
the O
play at
line.
fourth and
It stems
six.
from the O line,
Yeah,
in my opinion. But look,
that's what it looks like on the field.
I said this at the beginning of the year. I said I have some. What everybody kind of brushed off the whole miss 11 days of training camp thing, divorce thing, and it's clearly making an impact, whether people want to admit it or not. There's no excuse for this. And if you're the Panthers, no offense, there's no excuse for winning this game. What incentive do you have at this point? You are shelling off your players to the rest of the league, shopping everybody. What excuse do you have to win this game? There's no reason to sacrifice potential. I think they're still going to be fine to get the number one pick, but there's no reason to put that in jeopardy at all.
I actually, it may be a hot take, and this might be an overreaction to the game I saw. I don't think they're going to get the first overall pick.
No, it'll be the Texans. I think it'll be the Texans.
It'll be the Texans, but they might be in danger of escaping that top 5 for this reason. We talked about when the Panthers, we were high on them for a couple, not high on them going into the season. We thought they're going to overperform expectations. We thought the defense.
We did both say that.
We were like, this defense as a unit, like it's good with like Brian Burns. They got corners,
Jeremy Chin.
Dante Jackson's one of the fastest corners in the league. Still have Shaq Thompson. Like they got names all over that defense. And DJ Moore today looked good with a competent quarterback. PJ Walker, as I think I made a little joke about him last week, but in the limited times I've seen him and whatnot, he's actually pretty good. And honestly, has shown a lot more than Baker Mayfield. And that's just fact.
I'm sure.
It's not hard to do.
It's not hard to do that.
Sure. But what that kind of showed today was by playing the right, defensive game plan, which for those that I think a lot of people are just not going to know, especially just average NFL fans, going from Matt Rule, who already as a coach was not very well known. He was an offensive guy at Baylor, the college ranks. Steve Wilkes got dossed after a year because the Cardinals management didn't trust in Rosen, and I guess not him. They'd rather just go in with Kingsbury and Kyler. But Wilkes is a defensive guy. So going from that switch of an offensive to a defensive coach when the strength on this team after getting rid of McCaffrey and Robbie Anderson both is clearly on the defensive side of the ball, who knows? I mean, Chuba Hubbard had a nice run today. Yeah, he had some of his flashes and moments. Who knows? Maybe they scrape by, they pick up 5-6 wins the rest of the way. That changes their outlook for who they're going to nab in the draft. I think that's just what I saw today. Because a team that's trying to tank or whatever, they're not going to beat Tom Brady. It doesn't matter. I just think that
Tom Brady's that bad.
Oh, wow. That's how you feel.
I just think the Bucs are that bad.
And that's a fair take because my thing was,
and I'm not going to write
last week. Tomlin's a great coach. I thought, he's rallying the guys. They don't believe in us. The Steelers probably just try and stay competitive because it's who they are as a team. But the Panthers, it was like, oh, this should be like the Buccaneers, kind of tune up, try and get back into it. And the fact they just looked bad and kind of just got smoked. I mean, I will agree. The Buccaneers look bad, but the Panthers, I think the coaching switch is probably going to improve them a lot more. And if they stick with Baker not as their quarterback, that is going to help too. Because at least PJ Walker finds DJ Moore.
They have no incentive to play Baker Mayfield again after today.
Agreed. If I see him play,
because if you might have something with PJ Walker, there's no reason not to start him for the rest of the year just to see if it's there.
Right.
I don't know. I'm kind of on the other side of the coin, though. I'm never going to write off Tom Brady. How many times has he been here in the regular season? And we've been like, oh, they're done. They're toast. No chance. And then he rattles off a Super Bowl run. But I will say this. I don't remember it ever being this bad. This is really bad. Before it would be like, oh, we get the Patriots get blown out by the Chiefs on Sunday night, but the Chiefs were an AFC playoff team, right? They had won the division the year before, right? The Eric Berry, Jamal Charles, Alex Smith Chiefs. That's not the case right now. This is a bottom feeder team blowing you out. You
Had no
scored
incentive to win.
no incentive to win. They are tanking. They just shipped off their best player for a boatload of picks on Thursday before the
Yeah,
game. They have no incentive to try and beat you, and they go in and lose. So I have some serious concerns about Tampa Bay right now. I mean, some serious, serious concerns. There's finger pointing. They can't get anything going on offense. They look terrible. I think they might just fall behind and not have enough time left in the season to catch up. Now, I am fully aware of this is Tom Brady. This happened when they won the Super Bowl a few years ago. But that, again, I'm going to say this. When they got blown out by the Saints, that was the Drew Brees led defending division champion Saints. This
with
was
good
the,
teams.
yes, not the PJ Walker led, interim head coach led Carolina Panthers the week after losing to the Kenny Pickett led Steelers. Okay, this isn't a one-off no show. This is 2 weeks in a row they've lost to rookie quarterbacks in their first or second career start.
Right. And geez. I mean, that's kind of the really only way you can look at it. I mean, it's not that you're concerned about the Buccaneers anymore. It's they're in trouble. Really, the only good thing going for them is their division. I think at the end of the day, I think they're still in first or tied with it with the Falcons, which is
I'm
ridiculous.
hopped on the Falcons. I said it last week. I'm hopping on now. I think they're going to win the division until I see otherwise. Aren't they on? They
Pretty sure they lost the end of it.
oh yeah, they got blown out actually. But I'm still on the bandwagon. It's who is? They're the only team in that division that looks like they could win. Actually, you could argue the Saints actually, and they're 2 games behind or a game behind.
I personally am in the boat that whoever wins this division loses their first playoff game.
That's fair enough. I would agree with that.
I think overnight this division.
Well, I mean, shoot,
NFC East.
To argue your point, if the Panthers can win 7 games, they might win the division.
Possible.
I'm not saying I don't think they're going to win 7 games. I think they're going to trade DJ Moore probably, and they're going to have nobody left. But
yeah, we'll see about that.
Yeah, we will see.
Reports are saying that he's like a face or whatever,
which I did say I didn't say I didn't think they would trade DJ Moore, but I also said I didn't think they'd be able to trade Robbie Anderson, and somehow they got away with that. So
very fair.
They're literally paying, I believe, like 20 million or 15 to 20 million to have him play for another team this year. He's like 20 million at dead cap. Like, it's just ridiculous. But we can talk about the McCaffrey trade actually.
Yeah, I mean,
we didn't get the chance. What's your take?
Initially terrified. I mean, the 49ers. I'm not going to jump ahead of what happened today because honestly, you didn't expect McCaffrey to get too involved, but this might be something they kind of might regret in the future. Like, if they don't win this year, he's on the books for like $19, $20 million cap hits as a running back.
I think they have a 2-year window with McCaffrey. That's the way I think they're looking at it because, and not to interrupt, but I think they're looking at it as, okay, we could reload. If we can get back to the NFC Championship game with Garoppolo like we did last year, we were 1 game away, right? This guy pushes us over the edge. And then I think they're thinking, okay, and we get Trey Lance back next year, and we can finally run that experiment after however many years it's been. Let's see how it goes.
Right. Yeah, that might be the clock. But my only concern is if you have such kind of a small window with that guy, and we know kind of who this guy is, if he gets an injury or something like that, I'm not like wishing it out player or anything, but this could be very well one of those trades that like if he's getting hurt constantly or literally isn't playing like as good as the expectation we think of the system, like they're deprived picks.
I saw that they don't, outside of compensatory picks, which is still up in the air, but they don't own a pick until 2026.
Yeah, that's not very good.
That's ridiculous.
If you're not
Look at the
going
Rams.
to
Look at the
win.
Rams. They seem to be doing what the Rams did last year, right? Going all in on 1 year. Look what the Rams look like now,
Right.
right?
You have to
When you
win.
deprive yourself of every draft pick you own and you don't win the Super Bowl, that's where you lose your job
Agreed.
because you're winning 3 games, 4 games because you've run out of contracts, you've run out of cap space, you've run out of veterans, and you have no youth replacing it. But on the flip side, I don't really understand this from the 49ers perspective at all because it's not like they don't have a powerful running attack without Christian McCaffrey. I mean, this is they can put whoever they've been known for this forever. They can put whoever they want back there, and they'll average 8 yards a carry. Right? I mean, the Raheem Mosterts of the world, the Elijah Mitchells, who's just about to come back. Jeff Wilson's been solid. Like I don't. This does not strike me as a roster or a scheme that's built to pay a running back $20 million a year.
And I guess my and I'm not gonna say counter to it. It's more just like my general analysis is like what scheme does fit like a $20 million running? That is such in
The
today's NFL.
2019 Panthers scheme.
Yeah,
Give it to him 50 times a game so he gets hurt for 3 years. Like
I mean, pretty much, yeah. If you're like really just going all in on the guy, like we've seen Kenneth Walker again today. Like the Seahawks keep winning, and like Damian Pierce gonna do his thing. I think Brees Hall got hurt, but like
well,
running
yeah,
backs can just be
is
recycled. We saw Todd Gurley retire after 6 seasons. He was a 2-time All-Pro. Like
yeah,
running backs can just fall out like that. As much as I love Christian McCaffrey, having the injuries that built up, he could fall off in like 2 years.
is he
And the
that?
fact you got him under.
Yeah, I just
Sorry, I'm
don't.
going on a tangent. Yeah.
No, like is McCaffrey really that big a difference? Is there that big a difference between McCaffrey and Mitchell? And is there going to be a committee?
I think there'll be somewhat of a committee. I mean, they're all kind of the same back, but it's just something Shanahan likes to do. And yes, as great as McCaffrey is, I would agree with you in the running back position. A lot of that is offensive line based, it's scheme based. You can have guys that are more talented than others, but ultimately, like, if you get a guy that fits in your system, like just improving from it doesn't make a whole lot of a difference. Like if the Vikings go from Dalvin Cook to Saquon, we can agree that Saquon's a better running back, but like doesn't do a whole lot for them. Even if we
Yeah.
went from Aaron Jones to Christian McCaffrey as Packers, we're like, yay, this is great. I don't think it solves anything we got going on. It's
No, I think that
just
would make our offense worse, in my opinion. Right.
right.
And
It's
while
you're looking at it like
I do think that McCaffrey fits Shanahan probably better than anybody else, maybe McVay, but this like creative red zone, like he's going to be so deadly in the red zone, right? This creative receiving
sure. Oh
back
yeah.
who's very elusive, very quick. Like I think it's a great fit. If I'm Christian McCaffrey, I'm very happy. But I just think they flat out overpaid, and now they're
Agreed.
overpaying. They gave up 4 picks to continue to pay this guy for $20 million. This isn't a free agency signing where it's like we're saying,
Yep.
oh, they overpaid, but they still got him, so it's okay. No, they gave up 4 picks on top of paying his salary.
Yep. So you're not only compromising your future and part of guys you can bring in, but also guys that you can not only bring in or retain
Yeah.
because you're handicapping yourself salary cap wise. And again, people love it because everyone loves their kids growing up. Like
No,
they're like, oh, Adrian
this
Peterson, you love running backs. But in terms of, I'm sorry, the most least important position in terms of cap amount of money you should be spending outside of anybody on special teams is running back.
I would have to agree.
Is it not? Is it fullback, running back? You can win a championship with two running backs. You do not need to solidify, lock in a all-star. It's great to have. It alleviates a lot of things for you. Look like the Seahawks, but the Patriots went from James White to Sony Michel to LeGarrette Blunt to could have been anybody. So that's why my biggest thing is cool as it is. Yeah, it makes the 49ers a better team. Yeah, McCaffrey's a great talent. It's gonna hurt them in the long run.
it's
I'm
almost
just
like
gonna call it right now.
I'm just going to be honest. It almost feels like the 49ers are playing. They think that the real life is Madden.
They
It's like
they think it's their
like
year.
how many.
Bottom line is, I think they think it's this year.
Well, I
They
think
think
that they should think that. I think they're not that far off.
no, I think they see the struggles with Packers, the Buccaneers. The rest of their division is weak.
Yeah,
All they got to do is
we
find
just
a way
saw
to
though
beat.
they cannot beat Kansas City.
And yeah, that's fair. You know what I mean? And they couldn't beat Kansas City 2 or 3 years ago, and that might reign true. I don't think there are problems with Kansas City you saw today. We'll probably dive in more later because it's an afternoon game, but their issues are not on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
Like we saw this in Atlanta last
Well,
week.
if we're talking about the
Like
Niners
part of
defense,
it,
they are banged up. They are banged
and
up.
they are, but that's what I mean. You gotta hope that team is healthy and rolling as a unit because, I mean, oh man, I keep that. We keep tailing it back to this, but Packers on paper looked great as a defense, and we have nobody banged up right now.
Yeah.
And teams are running the ball over us. Doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah.
But
Let's
that's just my analysis on the McCaffrey trade. I don't know if you
yeah. No,
want to
I mean,
know.
I kind of gave my points. It just feels like, when you're running a franchise in Madden and you're like, oh, how many X Factor guys can we get on our offense to, and then throw
Yeah.
together with an 80 something overall quarterback and, throw it together. And then you sim like 2 or 3 years and either you win or you don't. And then you have to completely just blow it up because your guys are leaving and you have no cap. You have no room.
Yeah, you got
You have no
nothing left.
nothing. And you have no draft picks, which is like the number one way to if I can find a way to get an 85 overall left tackle or left guard instead of this aging vet who's asking for 10 million, just draft a rookie, get him on a rookie contract. We'll figure it out in 4 years when it's over. Like they can't do that. So
Agree. No, I totally agree with you. I think that's something that goes kind of underrated. Like a lot of people saw the Rams last year
no,
and were
look at
like,
the way the Rams got to the Super Bowl was their draft picks in McVay's time until they just gave it all up to go win the Super Bowl. But they were making great draft picks for a number of years there, where they found these pieces like Aaron Donald, going all the way back, Aaron Donald, Todd Gurley, these essential Cooper Kupp, like these late round essential picks that became extremely. And you could even argue Jared Goff, like he took them to a Super Bowl. So I don't know. The importance of
I think
draft
it's
picks is none more evident than in New England. Everybody knows this. I don't think we need to stress the importance of draft picks, and I think we've stressed enough. I don't. It's 2020. It's Super Bowl. What year is this? Super Bowl 57.
yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, it's Super Bowl 57 or 58, and then the Niners go back into poverty. In my opinion, I just don't see a way that they can reload this roster more than once.
Yeah, no, it's a very valid point.
When's Debo up? Because Debo's going to ask for that big receiver money, right? And how close are we to the end of Trey Lance's rookie contract, where you have to ask yourself, how much have we really seen of this guy? Because his rookie year is really going to end up being next year, and he's actually a third-year vet, right? So
yeah,
then it's like, do we want to pay this guy? Do we want to pay this guy? Is he still our guy? Do we go draft a guy? And then you run the risk he goes somewhere else, and he's the guy you thought he was when you picked him when he was 21 years old, but you didn't have the room to pay him because you're paying this 30-year-old running back $25 million.
Yeah, that's the nightmare scenario ultimately for the
But
49ers.
yeah, and we can get on from the 49ers, and we'll get to the game
sure.
today.
Yeah, we'll get back to the game.
You did mention. Let's dive into the Packers here. I don't have anything to say, so you can go ahead. Look, I'll say this: you ever seen Spider-Man: Far From Home?
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah. You know the end of the movie when when Mysterio's playing his last trick, and his Spidey sense, and he grabs the gun, and he goes, "You can't trick me anymore." That's going to be me every single week when I refuse to pick the Packers for the entire season. I'm not picking them again. I vow to never pick the Packers for another game.
Oh man,
You can't trick me anymore. They're a bad team. Okay, and you know what? I do have something to say. Okay, Taylor Heineke is manufacturing more offense with a terrible offensive line, a terrible running back, and bad receivers than Aaron Rodgers can with a better running back and a better play. Well, evident. supposedly a better play caller. Say the same thing about Andy Dalton. They're making offense out of nothing. So is Geno Smith. So are all these. So are the Atlanta Falcons. It is the Packers thought that this year without Devontae Adams, and I understand Watson changes the offense. I understand that's actually very evident that when Watson's on the field, there is a deep threat, and he changes the way the defenses play. You have to respect the speed, and he changes the way defenses look at it. But that doesn't change the drops. That doesn't change the fact that the Packers thought without Devontae Adams they could just run it back and play this Mike McCarthy-esque run around and throw it and try and win as many games as possible offense. Okay, Rodgers is a huge part of this problem. The defense can't get off the field on third down. They play great first down defense. They sag off, get to third and short, can't get off the field. And I understand that they had a touchdown today. They should have had a second one. It got called off. That was the right call. It was illegal contact. As dumb as it is, it was the right call. And look, you say what you want about the fumble call. It doesn't matter. Like there were multiple, and there's just drops everywhere. There's Rodgers is a shell of what he used to be. There's poor play calling. Or the special teams is terrible. This is a disaster. Poorly coached team, poorly run team, poorly led team, poor at every single phase of the game. And the bottom line is, I don't know where we go from here. They still get into the press conferences and they act like everything's okay. It's just a joke, man. And it's so like I said, I'm Tom Holland. They can't trick me anymore. I'm not even that upset about the loss today because I'm not surprised by the loss today. So what's the other thing from the Spider-Man movie? What does Zendaya say? She's like, if you have low expectations or you expect to be disappointed, then you won't be disappointed, or something stupid like that. It's just like expect disappointment and you won't be disappointed. So, yeah, I digress.
Wow. No, that's
Bills by 1 million next week. It's not even going to be close.
Yeah, that's it. No, it's a fair point. And I guess really my takeaway is this. Today I went over and, did a nice thing. Went to the grandpa's house, watched the game on his nice old TV. 81 years old. Guy's been he's been watching ball since the Roger Staubach, Roger the Dodger days, right?
Where is this going? Oh my God.
I think you're going to love where this is going. All these young minds in the NFL, these young guns. He called our problems like the first 5 minutes within the game. He was just like watching. He's just like, it's like, this whole season, he's like, we just make no halftime adjustments. And like we were up, I think we were up 14-3. He's like, better hope that's enough because probably not going to score too much in the second half. And I'm like, what are you? I'm like, Grant, what are you saying? And he's like, we need to get rid of
that was a Giants game too. No, do not call from Matt LaFleur's job.
Listen,
no,
my immediate pushback. And I'm not pushing this.
I would get rid of Rodgers before LaFleur.
I go, and that's where the conversation went. I go, well, you realize like this guy's like the most winning regular season head coach, and he's like, oh no, I understand completely. But we've shown it last year. We've shown our cards like it's Rodgers' team. Like Rodgers got McCarthy out. If he wants LaFleur out, he can get him out. And he's like, at the end of the day, the LaFleur-Rodgers connection is not working. It looks like he's playing for McCarthy again. Running around, doing his own thing, just chucking, looking and yelling at sidelines, yelling at people. He looks like back when this team was struggling. And so he goes.
And he's not
honestly, we should have traded him last offseason. And I really sat. And how had so many conversations. I was like, I hope we get Rodgers back and whatever. And boy, am I eating my words. Boy,
I never said that.
I know we were both like, we just know we were like losing this guy. Like
I said, we should rebuild.
We were concerned Packer fans.
I have said no. I wish we were doing. I wish we had receipts because I have been pro Jordan Love for the longest time. To this day, I swear to you that if Jordan Love went out there and played Matt LaFleur ball, we would struggle. We wouldn't win as many games. We wouldn't win games. But in a year or two, our offense would look better. We would look like at the very worst, Andy Dalton-led Saints offense. Which is honestly, better than what we did. That's 34 points in a loss. And you take your lumps and you're rebuilding. I agree with what your grandpa had to say. Aaron Rodgers runs this team, and I think that this offseason, if this continues, is going to really tell what management wants to do here because I don't think Rodgers has any trade value at this point.
And that
Or
was the
very
biggest thing.
low
He's
is
he's
if
like,
you
we missed our chance. I was like, he's like, I know, like I've seen Yoda, Master Oogway, like old people are wise, but like he just straight to the point. He was just out and he's like, yeah. And he's like, and because that's the thing, when he said it, like LaFleur needs to go, I was like, what? And he's like, no, he's like, I don't think he's a great coach, probably great something, but like in what's going on right now, it's just McCarthy all over again. I'm like,
well, and
this
look at what
guy's a
McCarthy's doing.
prophet,
Look
but
at what McCarthy's doing in Dallas.
yeah, winning games with Cooper Rush.
Winning games with Cooper Rush
And
and really good defense.
so I guess wow, and I never thought I'd get to this point, but I think because I've been watching Rodgers so long, and we even had a great conversation about this before that Matt McCarthy, the Mike McCarthy thing happened. Rodgers was universally loved, like pretty much before that season, and ever since it's kind of been you get a lot of more mixed feelings about him.
Well, why are
And
you? Yeah.
especially this season, I don't really have a lot of respect because there's times he's missing reads. I can't believe I see it, but like he misses reads this year. He goes with guys like Tanyan, or he'll like completely avoid the young guys and just check down like Tanyan or Aaron Jones 5 yards deep in the backfield instead of like taking a minute to look downfield.
I
I
saw this
just,
sentence on Twitter that I think sums up what you're trying to say the best is for a guy that really wanted Mike McCarthy gone more than anything in the world. I don't know why he's so dead set on playing Mike McCarthy ball.
that is, yeah, wow, that's the best way to sum it up.
Let
And
LaFleur
if it's not Mike
run the
McCarthy ball,
LaFleur
it's his
offense.
ball.
Because what did we bring
Agreed.
Matt LaFleur in to do? Like have a more sufficient, more creative offense, and like
Yeah.
that
If we're
has
not going to
just
run it, get him out.
why is Aaron Jones getting the ball 8 carries? I know he had a great receiving game today. Why does he have 8 carries?
That needs to be 20 pretty much. If he's not getting minimum 15, I'm asking questions. And that's been pretty much going on every week since.
Yeah, and
So I'm in the
here's
same
the
boat with you. Like I'm not going to not like I'm not going to be on there on the no. I'm not going to pick him ever again list. But there's
no. I'll
reservations like
pick the.
every week.
I promise you, I'll pick the Bears.
Jeez, yeah, I totally get it.
I don't out of
I
spite.
won't.
I don't care if I think the Packers will win the game. I'll pick them out of spite. I don't care.
All right, I'll
This
appreciate
is
that for
this
the
is
overall record.
2 weeks in a row. I was very confident going to the Giants game. Going to the Jets, I said, if it was anybody else but the Jets, I'd probably pick against the Packers. If it was anybody else against the Taylor Heineke led Commanders, I'd probably pick the Packers. Not pick against the Packers. Now I don't care. Well, it's an easy one next week, but and now I don't care who it is. I really don't. It could be Bailey Zappi again, and I'd pick him. It could be Jacoby Brissett, and I'd pick him.
That was
Justin Fields is actually the only person out there that makes me actually be like, if Rodgers is going to show up against anybody, he'll just show up to beat the Bears twice. It doesn't matter if we win 5 games all year. He'll do that.
I
But
just wish we moved him sooner. I can't believe I'm saying that. As honestly, I would consider
well,
myself a
no, I mean
Rodgers and Packer fan.
the bottom
He
line is
missed an
this: is
opportunity.
the Packers put their money into Rodgers. He seems to have at least taken a step back from his MVP for sure, back-to-back MVPs for sure. Put their money into Bakhtiari. He looks like a shell of who he used to be. Put their money into Jair. He is not having a good year. He looks to be having a down year. So it's a perfect storm of these things, and it's like, Quay Walker's not turning out, not developing or playing as well as I had hoped he would. Christian Watson's been hurt, so and then Devontae didn't want to be here. And then you have locker room issues when your quarterback asks for $100 million. You're going to have locker room issues when the second he starts to play bad and not look like he's worth that money. But
agreed. And before we move off of the Packers talk, because I know we've said a lot about it, I did have a thing I talked about with Quay Walker with some coworkers and whatnot. Him and Devontae Wyatt both went to Georgia, and that Georgia defense we saw last year was like historically like great, like among college football, especially in today's time, to be that great, unreal. Is there maybe a concern that because he had guys like Devontae Wyatt, Jordan Davis, basically an entire NFL D line in front of him in college, that Quay Walker just is used to. He can make open plays, kind of free roam. Is he gonna have trouble adjusting to the NFL level because our pass defense is great in terms of NFL ranks. Taylor Heinicke struggled today, first half, no question. Definitely turned around a bit in the second half, but like our run defense has been kind of problematic, and it kind of seems like there's just times where like Quay Walker does not get to his gap, or like he leaves it like
Look,
it's
he's a
kind of almost
rookie.
it's.
He's a rookie.
And
I
I
think it takes
understand
time,
that, but
especially
like to see him
linebacker.
get targeted, like as a first rounder to get targeted almost every game,
No, I just
I
when
have
you
my
have
reservations.
when you lose Devontae Adams, you have 2 first-round picks, and there's guys like you know what? Let's just start naming Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Drake London. There's like 5 more, and the guy we come
Yeah,
away
we
with is
missed,
Christian Watson. I'm not out on Christian Watson yet, but
but
he
we
was.
missed.
You get my point. You could have got Christian Watson and one of those guys,
Yep.
right? You had 2 first-round picks, and that's the guy going into the draft that you wanted. After all the offseason talk about the Packers never never drafted an offensive player in the first round, yada yada yada. All this talk, it's like, okay, this is finally going to be here. They do it.
Yeah.
I think they messed up the draft horribly. I really do.
They just seem so just half in and half out between. Are we gonna let Rodgers do his thing? Or are we gonna try and run our team? Are we gonna build for the future or compete? It just seems they're just lost. And so honestly, yeah, I'm gonna move on. Good thing for the Commanders. They're able to get a win. I don't think it really means anything for their outlook.
Oh,
Kind of just
it's
things
helping
like
Ron Rivera keep his job.
I'll say helps him. Taylor Heineke, good for him. But
I actually
ultimately,
love
that
Taylor Heineke too. Like he's
he's fun to
so
watch. He's so
the
fun to
the
watch.
stories
God.
of him being like emailing his professor, I mean, like, hey, can I get an extension because I got to go play Tom Brady in the playoffs? It's
Yeah,
just
like
so
yeah, that's
awesome. Just like
classic.
classic NFL, just like
And he's a
nerdy
good backup, man.
stories.
I'll give
But
him that. In terms of backups in the NFL, he's up there. So kudos to them. They keep their season alive. And are we both 3-4 now? Is that are
yeah,
we the same as the Commanders?
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's this season kind of feels lost, but
Well,
we can move
okay,
on. We
yeah,
can because I
whatever.
mean
I'm
it
not. I'm
sucks.
not
Like
writing off the Packers like
they might sneak into
writing.
the playoffs, but they just
No,
like right
I
now
wouldn't
look
say
so
that.
bad.
The Packers need to decide what they want to do. Are they going to try and contend with Aaron Rodgers and go trade for a wide receiver and sign Odell Beckham, or are they going to miss on that too and finish with 6 wins?
And yeah,
Because
ultimately it looks like the latter.
who can they beat?
Oh, I mean,
The
Bears,
Bears.
Lions,
The
that gets us to
Bears.
5. And
I
then
don't.
yeah, I
All right, let's move on. Let's
ugh.
move on. Let- we talked about Atlanta. We can cover that game. Atlanta got shredded today by
Mhm.
Cincinnati. It looks like that offense has finally woken up the last 2 weeks. Jamar Chase, it's crazy what happens when they give him the ball. Um,
Yeah.
don't use him as a decoy. The offense is awake. They are starting to find their stride. I believe Burrow threw for almost 300 yards in the first half and
Oh
three
yeah, I thought he was
touchdowns.
on record watch for a moment there, but
Yeah.
it was wow, quite the performance.
What's your thoughts here regarding Cincinnati? Are we talking Super Bowl again? Is that their ceiling, or are we still a little bit hesitant to say that?
I want to say, I mean, I picked them, win the division before like I expect them to be AFC conference contenders. I just can't really put them ahead of the Chiefs and the Bills. Just, I mean, we've been saying this all year. They look so much better and out front, in teams this year.
I'll say
But
this, at least regarding
it was a
Kansas
very good
City.
win. Yeah,
At least regarding Kansas City, I think that Cincinnati has the recipe to beat them, which is basically like score more points.
I'd
Like
agree.
to beat Kansas City in the playoffs, you simply need to be more explosive and be able to score 40 points. And Cincinnati can do that. Their offense is starting to wake up, and they can do that. And they did it last year, but they didn't play Buffalo last year. I think Buffalo's better in my opinion, but um, I don't know.
Yeah,
I,
I
I
would
would
agree
say
with you.
I could see a return. I don't think they're going to return to the Super Bowl, but I could see it if they're going to play like this.
They have a fighter's chance. They got that. They give their best shot. They can beat any team in the AFC. They're plain and simple. If they put up 35, 42 in a playoff game, they got the capability of doing that. And that's really kind of all we're banking on. But yeah, I mean, I guess from the Falcons aspect, this is why you gotta learn how to throw the ball. I mean, when teams are honestly giving you that kind of track race of a game where there's just points being poured on, if you can only get the ball down the field in 4 and 5 yard chunks, it's better than the Packers being able to move the ball at all, and even the Buccaneers at this point, like they're still outscoring these what we would consider good offensive teams. But yeah, they still got work to do. But like you mentioned, though, you can still be high on this team because they're still in the first place tied with the NFC South. They have as real of a shot of making a playoff spot as the Buccaneers right now. And that's something going into the season is like no one would have thought that ever in a million years. So from the Falcons aspect, they're still winning the season, and Bengals are just going to keep doing their thing. I mean, this is a team that last year got hot late. Kind of seems like it's kind of how it's going to turn out for them this year. And yeah, I mean,
I'd love to see a return trip
kudos.
to the Super Bowl. I'd love to see it. I think Burrow earned a ring last year and didn't get it. People, if that makes sense, right? Like, I think that like that was one of those teams that like you look at NFL history. Sometimes there's those random teams that get hot and they run to the Super Bowl and they win. And I think that people forget how close that Super Bowl really was. Like, it wasn't like the
Big
Bengals were
fun game.
outmatched. Yeah, it wasn't like the Bengals were outmatched. I genuinely thought for a large portion of that game they were my pick to win the game. Honestly, I thought for a large portion that they would win that game, and it just didn't turn out that way. But
Right.
I I picked Baltimore to win the division. I think it's still a toss up, but yeah, if they're going to play like this, they're going to win 10 games again, 11 games
They got
again.
the ammo to compete with anybody in this league.
Yeah.
Offensively, it's a fun team to watch. But hey, you know what? Unless you got more to add to that, I gotta hear your thoughts on what happened with the Titans over there, man.
So the Titans
You know,
have won
Titan.
5 in a row against the Colts now, which
See,
is
yeah,
just
that's
like
something it's
it,
tough.
and here's the this is the I think the Colts are the as much as I'm shipping them this year, they're the most home. What's the homer team? They're only play good at home. What's the word for that? Because they beat the Chiefs at home. Who they blow
It's
out
not
last
front. It's
week?
not front runners.
No,
It's
it's
basically just Seattle.
yeah,
For being
yeah. Like
honest,
if
like
the Colts go on the road, their odds go down like 50% of winning the game. Like it doesn't matter who they're playing at home; they have a chance to win. If they're on the road, they're a B- team at the very best.
yeah,
And
dome
you know
team,
what?
I
They were
guess.
in, and they were in this game too. And the Colts always have been a dome team, going back to the Peyton Manning days. That's true. But they were in this game to the very end. I mean, I know it was 19 to they lost by 9, but I I I think that they were a
Jeez.
lot closer to winning this game than people realized. The Titans got a field goal late, and look, you got to score more than 10 points if you're going to win. But this is what I'm talking about with the offense. Is like it only shows up at
Yeah.
home. It only shows up at home. The defense has actually been pretty consistent to hold Tennessee to 19 points. Derrick Henry did not have that. I mean, I guess he had 130 yards, so never mind. But no touchdowns for Derrick Henry, right? So bend don't break, but got to be able to score more than 10 points.
I guess my
Um,
just concern for this Colts team, because you touched on the only play well at home, Ben
yeah, they're not
Dome
going to
team
have home field
primarily.
advantage in the playoffs
No, and even
if they get
worse
there.
is Matt Ryan has always been a dome guy. In
Yeah.
Atlanta, that's what he's done, played in the warm weather. Already, it's like you're kind of seeing the writing on the wall of they're going to struggle going into play, whether it's Cincinnati, Kansas City,
If you're going to
Buffalo, even
beat
if they
any
win
of
their
those teams,
division.
if they're going to beat any of those teams, they have to find a way to get Jonathan Taylor going. And his first
Right.
game back, but 10 carries for 58 yards isn't enough. That's
Agreed.
five. That's 5.8 a carry. Why is it not at 20?
Yeah, he
And
needs to
I
get the
I
ball more.
get there's
That
game
needs to be
game
your bell
scripts. You're
cow.
down, all this stuff, but it's like, dude, this is your
But
guy.
yeah,
This is your
19
guy.
to 10 doesn't scream to me you're down at any point to excuse
No,
running the ball.
no, I
So I'll
agree.
throw that in there. Like,
I agree. They should not have threw the ball another 44 times today. So I don't know if it's a matter of Matt Ryan is checking to a pass every single time or what, but I think that their play calling is becoming
it could be part of that is Frank Reich.
more and more inexcusable. They ran the ball a ton last year, so I don't know if
He
it's Frank
did.
Reich. I don't know. And if
I
you
don't. He
don't want
doesn't
to, if you
strike me
don't
as the
want to,
guy.
if you don't want to bell cow Taylor to 25, you don't want to put him in injury's sake. 25 carries a game. Use Hines for 5 of them, right? Run the. That should be your identity is running the ball. Derrick Henry
Yeah.
had 30 carries today. Nobody else had a. Ryan Tannehill had 4. Dontrell Hilliard had 1. Right. Your identity should be we as a team are going to run the ball 25 times at a minimum every single game. Right? Stop us. And that's just not who they are. And I don't know if you're averaging 5 yards a carry against the Titans, why are you only running the ball 10 times? They had 10 team rushes. Well, 17 rushes as a team today. I guess Hines had 4, but it's just like it's starting to get like who are you? Because Matt Ryan has proven, and I know that he threw for however 380 yards last week, but you guys have proven that you are not this explosion like Chiefs style, throw the ball 40 times, rush it 10, score 45 points against the Niners defense, juggernaut of an offense, right? Like,
Agreed.
I feel like Richard Sherman, like run the ball.
Yeah, no, like run the ball, and it's as bottom line as it gets. But I really, it's something that needs to be talked about. Okay, because when we think of teams that they're not running the ball enough, Rodgers and Brady, all right, consensusly known as like great quarterbacks, legends in this league. New additions like Matt Ryan, kind of seems like they're throwing a bit more than they need to. Russell Wilson, definitely throwing a bit more than they should be. The list can kind of go on. Like you look at the Falcons. They added in Mariota and knew we're not going to utilize this guy that way. You look at the Giants. Daniel Jones is kind of playing for new contract or whatever. That's not his strength. We don't need to be throwing this much. And you're seeing the teams that are just conceding and saying, we got the talent to run the ball. We're just going to do it. Are playing better. Why we're seeing this, and fans are seeing it, and the way scoring is a whole in the NFL is down so much.
The Colts feel like they're 6 years behind offensive schemes right now. Right? It feels like they're playing in 2017, 2016. Like, we're going to throw it 40 times. And I just.
They don't need. You have Jonathan Taylor. You don't need to be doing that. This is a guy at Wisconsin that would get the ball 40 times a game. You know what I'm saying? Like that's Wisconsin's scheme is they just hand the ball off constantly. I'm really just kind of baffled at this, again, I could keep being like, oh, it's so stupid. Yeah, well, and the rebuttal is we're not in the league, right? We're not, coordinators. We can't see what's going on. But it's so clear is when you look around the NFL landscape, the teams that are winning can run the ball, do it consistently, don't get away from it. And the teams that were amazing last year and whatever, it doesn't matter who you are, Falcons or the Buccaneers who are in the contenders, if you can't run the ball right, it doesn't matter. Quite frankly, it does not matter.
I just think
no one can look at that Falcons roster and be like, this is so much talented, better than the Buccaneers. You got journeymen all over the place, a bunch of young no names. Drake London's great. Kyle Pitts.
No, the Falcons are supposed to be in a rebuild right now. We're talking about them making the playoffs.
Yeah, let's be real. And right, the fact they're even in contention at this point in the season speaks volumes.
We're going on week 8. We're still talking about it.
But right, yeah. So I just think, bottom line, the NFL is changing. It is in front of our eyes.
Yeah, when we've discussed this, there's a shift back to the run dominance. When you have Jonathan Taylor, the 23-year-old star rushing leader last year, it makes no sense not to give him the ball at the bare minimum 15 times, at the bare minimum. But look, this division's wide open. I'm not out on the Colts. I've said from the very beginning, make the playoffs. Anything can happen. So I'm just going to stick to my script. I know that they're a better team at home. Lost to the Titans, but hopefully they can split the series. Was it the second time they played them? No, they played the Jags twice. This is the first time they played.
Yeah, they got another one coming up
Um,
at home, so they'll probably win that.
yeah, so find a way to sneak out the division. The Jags look like they're going to be too far behind, and the Texans are terrible. So you find a way to pick up a couple games, win the division, you're in, and from there, anything can happen. And at least my pick doesn't look as bad if they win the division. So
No doubt, no doubt.
we can move on. Let's talk about the Giants Jaguars game. Actually, I briefly brought up the Jaguars. Is it time to write them off? Is it time?
Jaguars as a competent playoff team, yeah. I mean, and honestly, I don't even think they're going to sneak in just as low as the AFC is. I don't think they're a bad team. It's just the wins that they needed to get were kind of in this early window, and they didn't get them. Because, again, they were still in that game with the Giants. As good as
they have a lot of close games. They just can't win.
Yeah, they hadn't found a way to win. And a lot of that is just, again, they're getting set up to win by their coaching. It's just they got so many young guys and fresh faces that they're not going to be able to execute consistently.
Can I say something, though?
Yeah.
Travis Etienne is clearly the better back for their offense.
No question.
Clearly. He is taking over this backfield week by week. And even looking at this week, he had 14 carries. And why is it not listing? I don't know if James Robinson. I don't know if he had a carry today. I don't think he did.
Like as a running back, as a runner, especially guys in Southern Illinois, like smaller school, I like the kid. Like I think he does a good job running the ball. I think he will play probably for I don't want to say a long time in this league because you can never guess that with running backs. I don't think he's out of a job. It's just
no. I mean, ETN was 14 for 114 today. He averaged 8 yards a carry.
Right, and considering that Trevor Lawrence is back, I mean, we just got to keep real with ourselves here. Like, he's not only going to favor that guy, he's going to get the ball to him when he can, and ETN deserves it at the big.
Yeah.
If it was close or whatever, you can make cases, but ETN's clearly more explosive. You can keep James Robinson on the roster, but fantasy outlook wise, he's just only going to be a touchdown vulture at this point.
How about the Giants? I got a question. Who can they lose to?
I mean, they could lose to anybody at this point in the
You
NFL.
still aren't sold.
I'm sold that they're a good football team. I just think they're going to be a team that is going to go from so far underrated to so far overrated by playoff time that they're going to disappoint people. But I don't want to get out in this and be like, I'm negative on the Giants because I'm not. They're a playoff team. When going into the season, I was expecting top 10 pick for them. And they're going to move on from Daniel Jones.
I don't think they can. I don't think they can do that now. They can't.
They can't. At
I genuinely don't think, unless they fall off the face of the planet the back half of the year, if they make the playoffs, and I'm assuming they're not going to win their division, but let's put them at double-digit wins, right?
Yeah.
If they have double-digit wins, how can you move on from Daniel Jones? Because he is the one, in my opinion, who's if the NFL had a most improved player award, it would have to be him. He is catapulting this offense into we actually need to somewhat it's not like yes, Saquon is their best player on offense and he's carrying the ball 20 to 30 times every game and getting 100 yards from scrimmage. But Daniel Jones is not making mistakes, okay? He's taking care of the football and he's moving the ball down the field, making good throws, making right reads, being a game manager with absolutely no receiving weapons. Absolutely. Wan'Dale Robinson's a rookie. This was his first or second game. Kenny Golladay, we discussed him. He's a modern-day tragedy. And they lost, what's his face? Kadarius Toney or Sterling Shepard that they lost?
Tony, yeah.
There's nobody out there, and they're winning games. So Brian Dable, it's going to be hard not to give him Coach of the Year at this point unless the Eagles go 17-0. But, yeah.
And no, that's
I
They're
am
probably the best
bought
way you can
in.
look at it.
We talked about their ceiling last week. I think it still remains the same conference championship at best. Wouldn't be surprised if a division loss, but I also asked the question like who in the NFC is going to beat them besides the Eagles and but besides the teams in their division, who's going to beat them? Maybe the Niners, maybe, right? Like the NFC right now just feels like a joke, comparatively speaking.
Agree. I totally agree with you. I don't really actually know what's going on with the
I mean,
AFC
the
or
Seahawks.
NFC.
Actually, do you have anything more? Oh, I
No,
guess
I don't. I don't.
Seahawks was an afternoon game, but I do want to say like, well, do we have any more noon games actually before I do this? We don't. No, we're good. Oh, Lions Cowboys. Do you have anything to say about Lions Cowboys? I mean, the Lions. It's just sad, man. It's
Cowboys
sad.
are the Cowboys, but yeah, I don't really know what the heck happened to the Lions. And I hate to be that guy, but at this rate, if it's just going to be a tank fest from here, Campbell might be out.
That's
And I
dumb.
hate it. I
No,
hate it.
I think he deserves one more year, in my opinion,
I
because
think he does too. I
their
think he
their
does too.
their
I just
roster is defensively speaking atrocious. Their
they can't
offense
score
their
anymore.
offense has fallen off, but they've lost DeAndre Swift. I think he's their most explosive player. So when he comes back, I wouldn't be surprised. Amon Ra got ruled out today by concussion spotters who saw him get hit in the head. He didn't get hurt. I think this is the dumbest rule, and it's going to lead to a lot of just bad situations. And that's that rule
Yeah,
change with Tua, where these people watch the film like, oh, he got hit in the head, he's done for the day. I think that the
I
protocol
hate
is
that.
this is this is bad. This is a recipe for disaster. All it's going to take is one time where somebody's in the playoffs or a very important regular season game that requires playoffs or even the Super Bowl, and somebody gets hit too hard and they pull them out of the game. And now an owner is really, really pissed because Joe Burrow got sacked and they didn't get a roughing the passer and he hit his head on the ground and he's not allowed to play. This rule is not going to make it outside of this year. I think the NFLPA is going to be really pissed about this when Amon-Ra St. Brown was getting pulled and he didn't get hurt. He didn't come out of the game. He just got hit hard, and then somebody came up to him on the sideline and said, "You're done." That's my understanding of what happened there.
As a player, yeah, especially if you're not even concussed, like I'd probably lose it.
Yeah. So
Considering like
look, and look,
your
this is all
career.
hearsay on what actually happened, speculation. But I did see on Twitter that it was because concussion spotters saw him and pulled him from the game. So this is not the first time this has happened either. This happened. It's just not a good look. I don't think it's good. If he can pass concussion protocol, I think that they should play. I think that we need to be careful. I'm all for protecting people. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
But
Then adjust the protocol. I don't think concussion spotting and you might have a concussion. We're not, like you're just done for the day. I think that's such a
at some point
panic,
we need to accept that these players are accepting the risk they take when they go out there.
Absolutely. That's
if they know they're hurt, then they shouldn't put themselves in this position to be even more hurt, right? Like Tua should not have played. Tua should have watched
readjust contracts and whatever. So,
but
I totally agree with you
100%. Dallas is Dallas. Dallas is rolling. I think Dak looked good, but more importantly,
first game back, yeah.
Dallas's rushing offense is really starting to blossom. Two-headed monster. Pollard has 80 yards. Zeke has almost 60, and then Zeke gets 2 touchdowns. This is going to be a tough team to stop. We talk about running the ball and all that, and it's not like they're short of receiving weapons. They got CeeDee Lamb, they got Dak Prescott, Micah
They got
Gallup.
a nice offensive line too.
Yeah, and
really good at running offensive line. So,
and I think they might have the best defense in the league, in my opinion. So,
so far,
it's they're going to roll. They're a wagon to pick so far, and yeah, it's sad to see the Lions fall this far, but. If you're going to take that step up, you got to learn how to go from being that circle win team, that 3-win team, to that 7-win team, and then you take that step to that double-digit win team. And these are not this game, but there have been games where the Lions have been right there, like the Vikings game earlier in the year and whatnot, where these close games where everyone's really excited about the new season, and then you find yourselves at 1-3 after losing 3 close games, and now it's like, oh, we got blown up by the Patriots, oh, we got blown up by the Cowboys. Season's over. We're 1-5.
The blowouts are those can't happen.
Right.
Because the Saints, their games are so close, even though they're 2-5. It's like, well, this still looks like good football.
The core of the Lions issue, their defense was not going to be good when you looked at it in the preseason. I think Jeff Okudah's having a decent year. Hutchinson finally had, I think, his best game of the year so far today, but They still got plenty of holes to fill
No doubt,
on
no doubt.
defense, and I think it'd be a shame to at least not give. I think Campbell deserves one more year where he has an offseason to put together a competent defense because he's put together a competent offense. And look, they still haven't given. We can talk all we want about the Jared Goff hype train at the start of the year, but he's still Jared Goff. I think everybody got a little bit ahead of themselves a little bit with Jared Goff, and
He doesn't do well with pressure, man.
he doesn't do well under pressure. And look, we're gonna fire Dan Campbell, and this is the quarterback we've given him. We haven't drafted anybody. We haven't made this. I just think that I think that's a little unfair in my opinion. But
no, I totally agree with you. I just know the NFL is a cruel world. But no, that was the last of the noon window games, though. Hey, I mean, these bye weeks really are shorting down our
which is not bad, But
no.
Seahawks Chargers. I have officially moved to Seattle from a pick only when they're at home team. And I guess I might be jumping the gun a little bit because the Chargers literally have the worst home field advantage in the league. But
they're still Chargers though.
They're still the Chargers.
Keenan Allen back today?
They did. They did.
Not. Yeah.
No, they did. Look, the Chargers are. They're the Chargers. They lose games like this. They look. People talk about this. I've seen this talk a lot lately, and I want to hear your take on it. Mahomes, Allen are the Brady and Manning of this era. Somebody's got to be Drew Brees. Somebody's got to be Philip Rivers, right?
Yeah.
Somebody's got to be the Aaron Rodgers, right? These guys that they get one ring, they have a chance for a second, all this stuff. They're great passers for their whole career. They're solid guys. Their franchise never going to move on from them because that's their guy. And you know what?
Wow.
I'm not saying jury's out on Herbert, but in terms of being on the same playing field as Mahomes and Allen, these are just games that those two don't lose, right?
No, he's clearly number 3.
And look, I'll point to Brandon Staley. I'm going to keep doing it because there's just things that he does that you point to and you're like the Browns game that they should have lost. Why the frick are we going for it on 4th down, right? These are the ones that he loses. I just think that Brandon Staley is going to be the first person to go if they don't make the playoffs again this year. I think they do make the playoffs, but I don't think they do much when they get there.
A veteran coach would help this team more.
They are missing a wide receiver 1, and they are.
If Keenan Allen's not playing up to par,
I actually don't know why I don't know why their defense is. It feels like they're underperforming. I'm gonna have to go watch the film because on paper they look really. I know J.C. Jackson got hurt today, but
that could be problematic for sure. I don't know the rest of the corner depth. They still have Asante Samuel Jr., I believe.
On paper their defense looks really good. So
James,
I have to check out the film a little bit on why their defense is struggling. But the Seahawks are legit in my mind. They're on top of the NFC West, so it's hard not to argue with.
I give them, that's
hard not to argue with.
I mean, that team can work, and Geno Smith. We say most improved, Michael Daniel Jones. My vote would go Geno Smith. That dude.
My problem with giving him that award is
done, man.
Yeah, but improved from what? Because we haven't seen him play in 8 years. So there's a level to
the argument.
I see what you're saying. I guess I just feel like
this dude was a wrong fit. Bad backup, bad preseason from being out of the NFL, and now he probably locked himself down at least in the Chase Daniel role, where he'll probably get till 37, 38, just getting contracts.
Yeah,
just because of what he's shown this.
Good for him, man. Hey, if I'm Seattle, look. At this point, we're trying to make the playoffs, and dare I say, anything can happen in the NFC playoffs right now. Anything can happen.
Quarterback. You have
an incredible bridge quarterback. Use this to find the guy you want, right? If it's not this year, you have a great bridge quarterback. That's the best way to put it. And you have a great receiving core. Build up the defense. You've got pieces. You've got an incredible fan base. I think that I thought Seattle was going to ride back off into mediocrity as soon as Russell Wilson left. That is not the case. I think
They look better.
As long as Pete Carroll is there, I think they're going to be relevant.
My just last just suggestion for Seattle would be we mentioned this amazing bridge quarterback. Maybe you don't take a guy at the end of the first round because at this point they're probably going to be
No, I'm saying run it
probably
back with Gene. No, do what the Jets did.
running back with
Draft what the
Geno.
Jets did.
Definitely, yeah. Running back with Geno. Let him mentor. This dude might be one of the best mentors, not ever, but he's gonna be a very great mentor considering he got thrown into a crap situation with the Jets. Started way too early. A lot of people like, yeah, write him off. This guy is done. Backup should be out of the league. And now he's reestablishing his career. He can really give
Yeah,
a lot of
it makes you
insight,
wonder how many of
things that,
those
yeah.
types of talents have gone through places like Cleveland and the Jets and Houston and all these places that are terrible. Where it's like, man, if they'd have gone anywhere else, they could have
Oh,
been
geez, man.
great or even serviceable, right? And it's just like,
Maybe a discussion for another day, but how the NBA is a G League, the NFL could really, really benefit of having something like that.
I would agree.
Because
And
quarterbacks,
I think that that's actually on the way, and we can have this discussion
it
later. But
has to
I
be.
think that
Yeah.
when the Rock bought the XFL, he's working with the NFL now. I believe I saw that to set some sort of feeder
Good.
up. And honestly, I wouldn't even be mad if you literally you find some sort of rule proposal that allows teams to pull guys up from any XFL roster at any time.
Yeah.
Right. And they're
Like
playing
the G League.
coincide. Yeah. Yeah.
That's
But,
like there's no reason it can't happen.
yeah.
The NBA can do it. Why can't the NFL? If they have 16 to 17 games they have to play.
Yeah.
You see 10-day guys get called up overnight and then they're flying across country. Like
I agree.
if the NBA can pull that off in an 82 game season, there's no really excuse at all. The NFL can't, and they're being greedy.
Well, yeah, and you've heard and we're getting off topic here. You heard what Chad Ochocinco said about the CFL. You ever seen that clip? He went up to the CFL and he was like, "Why are these guys so good?"
Yeah,
he's like, "Oh, because there's only 1,500 spots in the NFL." Look at baseball. And look, there are fundamental differences.
Leagues upon leagues.
You cannot set up a minor league system for football like baseball because the careers are way shorter and guys are way more injury prone. But there should be something, in my opinion. There really should because
it's not that hard.
Yeah. We can move on. Honestly, the afternoon games are kind of stinkers.
Which is thoughts? Fine. We'll
Raiders rolled. Texans were made a little interesting, but I think the Raiders are way better than 2-4, 2-5. No, they're 2-4. Raiders are way better than 2-4. In my opinion,
I think they'll get to 4-4.
I did have Josh Jacobs in Fantasy Frenzy.
Nice. I mean, you still need a little miracle from Jalen.
I need a Jalen Waddle miracle, but
Raiders rolled. Recap that, but
not much to talk about here. Raiders rolled. I don't really have much else to say.
This might have been the most in terms of games that happened today, the most we expected that. You literally in Fantasy Friends, you're like, game flow wise, Jacobs is probably gonna get the ball a lot.
Yeah.
Well, here we are. I have nothing to add. I'm sorry for Texans fans that are out there listening. It's like you guys know what you are. You're trying to just keep improving.
No, yeah, they're
find the things that work.
Go get the number 1 overall pick. Go grab.
Yeah,
I don't know who. I don't know if there is a consensus, but I don't. They're tanking. They're rebuilding, which is which is why I don't know why the Panthers are trying to win games, but that's a different conversation that we already had. Final game. Jets at Broncos. All right, you picked Broncos country. Russell didn't end up starting. I actually think the offense looked better in my opinion, but any thoughts?
And that's the thing. The offense looked better because my initial, what's the word I'm looking for? Just excuse or be like, oh, this is why my pick lost. Be like, oh, Russ didn't play. I'm not even gonna pull that because, like you meant, watching this game. They look better. So,
Well, we do need to talk about Brees. But go ahead.
Oh yeah, we can talk about Brees, but chilling at 2-5. After losing in Denver, looking better than they have offensively and still losing the Jets. Yeah, I
See,
think I'm just gonna have to be on the other side of this
I'm
team for a
I'm
long
kind of
time.
buying in on the Jets. This is a gritty win.
I
They're,
really am
they're,
kind of
they're,
buying
they're,
the Jets too.
they're a
They went
gritty
on the
team.
road. Yeah, they went on the road.
On
The
the
fact
road
their
to
defense is
Lambeau
so
and to
good.
Denver, and win back to back weeks are 5-2. I'm buying in.
Yeah, I will
Zach
have to.
Wilson, game manager. I'm buying in.
Yeah,
16
I'm
of
telling you that
26, 120, no touchdowns, no picks though. But like
they almost got to the Super Bowl with Mark Sanchez.
their
That's a
defense is not
long
that
ways to
good.
go
Their defense is not that good.
yet.
Yet
Sauce in Quinnen Williams
Sauce.
alone.
If we're gonna talk about that old Jets team, Sauce is Darrell Revis in 3 years, in my opinion. Maybe not even
Oh
three.
yeah, he's got it already. He's already got
Yeah.
the
What was
measurables
the
and the way
call
he
today?
guards
Cortland
guys.
Sutton got lost in the sauce. That was
I
such a
bet.
good
I feel like a
call.
lot of guys get lost in the sauce. I mean,
Such
this
a good
guy's
call.
good. You get your own
I
sauce
mean,
at B-Dubs, and you haven't even played a game in the NFL yet, and then you come out and you're still playing this well. Yeah, I'm sold. It might be Revis right now. I mean, he's
he's good.
playing well. The Jets defense, yeah, we've like Zach Wilson right now is a game manager. The Jets offensively are offensively challenged.
Yeah.
So when it becomes, the fact their defense is the only that's going to beat you and it just consistently does, that's something that needs to be taken into account. So tip that to them. For the Broncos, yeah, I am probably going to keep saying I'm never going to pick them, but I feel like it's like every week it's like,
I'll
well,
talyou into it on
maybe they'll
Wednesday.
win. Yeah,
I'll
you
talk you
probably will.
into
It's like, well, they might get it done, and I just end up with another loss on the weekend. But
it.
that's the way it goes.
Yeah, Brees Hall. Let's talk about Brees Hall's injury. This looks bad. They ruled him out right away. I'm seeing on Twitter major knee injury. I haven't seen a diagnosis
Ugh.
yet. But without Brees Hall, I think this offense takes a step back, and I do sell off some of my shares that I've invested into the Jets. If they, get him back in a couple weeks, maybe it's a PCL, MCL situation. I don't know. But with Michael Carter, I think that Brees Hall has been a large proponent for their success. He's been very elusive, very explosive, and making plays out of nothing. Michael Carter, I think he's a solid
Yeah,
back.
he's not Brees Hall
But
though.
he's not Brees Hall. So I am concerned if Brees Hall is done for the year. I'll say that.
Yeah, it's fantasy purposes for me as well.
Well,
It's
not even fantasy purposes,
problematic, but
but just like from the
Jets purposes.
Jets perspective, like their ceiling was playoffs, and I don't know if that's the case anymore. If he's out, because
It
they're
hurts their
not going to beat
chances a great
Buffalo.
deal.
They're not going to beat Kansas City. They're not an AFC contender at this point, but they are surpassing expectations. So
No doubt. No doubt.
Johnny can go get some ice cream. Um, but
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
outside of that, let's do. That was our final Sunday slate game. Quick recap of our picks so far. So we both got Cardinals on Thursday night. I'm now on a 3-game win streak on Thursday night, so we're rolling. We're rolling.
Nice.
Both got the Ravens. We missed the Buccaneers, which those are the ones that really frustrate me in this game because it's like, well, I'm never going to not pick them.
Right. I'm not taking the
Like
Panthers
ever, not in a million years. Then we both got Bengals and Cowboys. I got the Giants. You had the Jaguars. Both missed on the Packers. Like I said, if the Packers win any more games, you're going to get a free point automatically off me because I will not be picking them for the rest of the year. And then I missed on the Colts. You grabbed the Titans. We both grabbed the Raiders. Broncos country did not ride. And then we grabbed the Chiefs. And then I have not filled this out, but we both did miss on the Chargers as well. So, whoops, I wrote Chargers instead of Seahawks. So that puts me one game ahead of you. We were tied coming into the week. I am 8-4 so far, and you are 7-5 to this week so far. So solid weeks. We both have Dolphins tonight. I believe they're up 13-0 already. So quick preview.
Oh, nice.
So
Go check that.
we can actually let me pull up the box score. See what's going on here. Oh, 13-3. Sorry.
Still good for the Dolphins.
Jalen Waddle 3 for 63. I'm trying to figure out who scored. Tua threw a touchdown to Raheem Mostert.
Nice.
So, that's great. I'm playing him in Dynasty. Anyways, um, both have the Patriots tomorrow night as well. So looking up because the Patriots are going to win. Looking up for both. We're both going to be over 500 for the week. I'm assuming, and I think we're
You
both going to
got me
draft the
by
Fins tonight. Terms of
got me
fantasy
by a game.
terms of fantasy frenzy housekeeping, you are currently up 146 to 115, and I still have Jalen Waddle, who is actually off to a decent start. He's got 9 points in the first quarter. So solid start. I need 30,
On
30,
pace, yeah.
30, 31 out of him, 3 for 63. But quick recap. I had Herbert, Barkley, Jacobs had 36, Barkley had 17. Herbert had 18, would have liked for a little bit more, but the big bust for me was Debo Samuel and Leonard Fournette. Debo had 9.
Oh, yeah.
Fournette had 4. Gerald Everett was a solid stream, but you beat me out with Kittle. Everett had 11, Kittle had 21. And
Oh,
then the Packers defense managed to quite literally score a touchdown and only score 8 points, which is just atrocious in my eyes, especially because they had another touchdown called off. Then I got 10
right.
out of my kicker. You did have Lamar, who struggled today. He only had 10. Derrick Henry had 16. Kamara had 17 on Thursday. But your big winner was Jamar Chase. He had 33 points again. And when you got Jamar
Wow.
Chase and he's going to do that, look, I can do what I want with Josh Jacobs, but it's going to be hard to keep up. Devontae Adams, 17 and a half. Kittle, 21. CeeDee Lamb, 10.6. Tucker had 13. Broncos defense only had 6. So,
Mm.
barring a miracle here from Waddle, he's probably going to have to score twice for me to have a chance.
Say he's gonna need a
Um,
Jamar Chase type day.
which is, with the bat. If I was in a situation like this, I would want Tyreek Hill or Jalen Waddle to be in the situation they are with the matchup they have, because it's most likely that something like that would happen. So, um,
Right.
praying for a miracle, but it's not looking. It's looking like you're going to carry on to a 3-game win streak in Fantasy Frenzy. So, moving you to
Yeah.
3-1 since week 4 when we started it. So, I gotta look around a little bit and figure out what's going on, because we can't be dropping games like this, man. This is getting bad. But any closing thoughts, closing remarks here with our week 7 reactions. Sorry.
Jeez. I mean, closing is kind of just. I guess we just got to keep watching. I think at this point we have ideas of who are going to be contenders, but there's so much season left.
Yeah,
There's so many things that have yet to happen.
weird week with the Eagles and Vikings on bye. It felt like.
Yeah, it was very bizarre. I guess it'll be nice to kind of see the NFL back in action with those teams, but
Yeah.
I'm really we could really be talking about a whole lot of different narratives and good teams the next 4 or 5 weeks. I mean, that's just kind of how quickly things can change in the NFL.
Yeah. We do have Baltimore Tampa Bay on Thursday.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's the primetime game on Thursday that's you know what I say it's gonna be worth watching. It's gonna end up like 17-10 Baltimore.
No. No.
We say that.
Buccaneers can't score that many points. Come on now.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. Jeez.
But yeah. As always, make sure to check us out on TikTok. We're going to start pushing out more content at the BB-Scho. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Twitter. And subscribe on YouTube. We're going to start doing more content there. So,
yes,
yeah.
Sir.
Don't have many other thoughts. The Packers are bad. Can't trick me anymore, though. Lower your expectations, and then you won't be disappointed. So,
absolutely.
Bills Mafia going to blow us out next week. Fully expecting it. Check us out on socials. And as always, have a good day, guys. Thanks again for listening.
Yep. Peace out.